Hi everyone, welcome to Things Lucy Reads. I'm Luce and this is another wrap-up video. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about books 35 to 39 and 41 in this wrap-up. And they are all manga volumes. The first three I'm going to talk about are volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Tokyo Ghoul by Sui Ishida. This is a story about an alternate world where ghouls exist and they kind of look like humans and have sort of assimilated into human society, except that they eat humans. And this one kid called Ken gets attacked by a ghoul and he gets taken to hospital, and it turns out that he needs an organ transplant, and the ghoul that died happens to be like a match for him, so her organs get transplanted into him, which makes him part ghoul, part human, and he's no longer able to eat human food and he has to eat human flesh in order to survive, even though he doesn't really want to, and he spends a lot of this series so far not eating it. Ghouls, the only human food that they can eat or drink is coffee. So he basically just subsists on coffee and these little cubes that are like stock cubes but are like human stock, and they make him less hungry. Yeah, I really love this series. I hear great things about the anime all the time, and the manga is pretty great as well. Just this whole world building is really fascinating. Like, the ghouls are essentially immortal and they just live among humans, and humans know that they're there, but they can't really wipe them all out because the ghouls look like humans and they're like really stealthy and they're really good at fighting. So if anyone attacks one, they probably end up dying, and there is like an FBI kind of organization that hunt them and investigate them and stuff like that, and so they've got to elude them because they're pretty much the only people who can kill them. And it's just really good, and I read these 3 volumes back to back because I just wanted more all the time, and these are all the volumes that I have now, and I'm really sad about that. But it's just really good, and it doesn't fall into the trap that a lot of manga does, where it just keeps introducing new mysteries and new problems without solving or explaining anything. For every new mystery that is introduced, one other one gets explained, which is so nice. It means that I don't spend the entire volume just confused and completely lost. I actually kind of understand what's happening, so that's kind of a new experience for me, because I read a lot of manga that is just really bizarre and confusing and doesn't explain itself well, and I'll get back onto that in a minute when I talk about the next ones. But yeah, this series doesn't have that, and I just really love everyone in it, and I can't wait to read more of it and to finally watch the anime as well. The next 2 books I read are part of a different series. They are Puella Magi Kazumi Magica The Innocent Malice Volume 2 and Volume 3 by Masaki Hiramatsu. So I read the first one a couple of months ago. It's about this girl called Kazumi who wakes up with no memory of who she is or what has happened so far in her life, and she finds out that she is a magical girl, and she fights with this group of other magical girls who call themselves the Pleiades Saints, and they kind of bring, justice to the world, ostensibly. I gave Volume 2 3 out of 5 stars because, like I just talked about, it was very confusing for me. It's partly my fault for waiting so long between reading Volume 1 and reading Volume 2, and partly because this series kind of jumped into a fight that I don't think the first one left off of. Yeah, it just kind of jumped straight in, and then pretty much the whole volume was dedicated to this one fight, and then there was like a different fight tacked right onto the end straight after, and it was just really I felt like I had whiplash when I was reading it because I couldn't really follow what was going on. And yeah, that wasn't really a very good experience. But then Volume 3, everything kind of slowed down. They finished fighting those battles and they were free to kind of just go back to something that resembled normal life, and we find out actually what the deal is with Kazumi and the entire group of Pleiades Saints in this. I can't really tell you what it is that they do because that's a bit of a spoiler, but it's something that would be considered bad by other magical girls in this universe, but it's kind of justified, the reason that they do it, and they kind of explain like who Kazumi is to them and why she lost her memory and where she comes from in the first place. And it was a bit like watching the original series that this is based off, which is Puella Magi Madoka Magica, where nothing makes sense for the first 9 episodes, and then you hit episode 10 and you find out everything, and you're just like, they're like, holy shit, this is amazing. And that's exactly how it felt at the end of volume 3. And I'm just really, really keen to get volumes 4 and 5 and finish this off, because it's just like wow. And then the last book I'm going to talk about is another one from the same general series. It is Puella Magi Madoka Magica Homura's Revenge, Volume 2. I read Volume 1 of this earlier in the year, same time that I read first volume of Kazumi Magica. And this is just a 2-volume little spin-off series. So it's like an alternate story where when Homura uses her time magic to rewind time, instead of her being the only one that remembers all the previous timelines, Madoka remembers as well, and she's there trying to help her, you know, do things in the right order and properly so that they can finally defeat the Walpurgisnacht. So it's really interesting. It adds a really new dynamic to the relationship of the 5 characters that this story centers around, and how it affects Madoka's relationship with Sayaka and Kyoko, and how Sayaka and Kyoko's relationship is affected. And everyone relates to each other totally differently in this than they do in the anime, because of this one little change. And it's just really, really fascinating. And I really like it as an idea because I was left a little bit unsatisfied at the way the anime ended. And this kind of gave them a chance to do it all over again. But then the ending of this wasn't very satisfying for me either. And after spending 2 whole volumes pretty much on very few events, by the time it actually got to the Walpurgisnacht and like the end of everything, they'd spent so much time on everything else that there wasn't much time left to talk about that, and it felt very, very rushed. And I finished reading it and I was like, that's it? No. After all of that lead up and then all of the action, and then it was just over like that. And yeah, I don't know, I feel very conflicted. I wanted so much to give this volume 5 stars, but I couldn't. I only gave it 4. But this duology thing is still very good. If you liked the anime, I definitely recommend this. Yeah, maybe I would have to read them again back to back to kind of get the whole story in one go, and maybe then I would feel different about it. But at the moment, I am a little bit let down by this. So those are all the books that I'm going to talk about in this wrap up. If you've read either Kazumi Magica or this series, or even Tokyo Ghoul, and you have some thoughts, let me know what they are. I would really like to chat to some people about this. And yeah, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.